Hi, you're listening to another episode of the Defiant Business Podcast, and I'm your host, Ruthie. So, we're going to continue talking about your company's ideology. So, keep in mind, in the two previous episodes to this one, we talked about the two components, if you will, that make up your company's ideology. And so the first one was values, those tenets, those principles that you would hold even if they became a competitive disadvantage. And then your purpose, not just your company's goal, but its very reason for being. And when you discover these two things, and it takes some work, it takes some digging, you really have to dig deep to discover what values you hold and what your company's purpose is. But what you do, once you do, you compare them together, and that is your company's ideology. So according to a hbr.org article that I read, your company's ideology isn't made, it's not created. Even if you were to hire a consulting company to help you with this, they would still be helping you to discover your ideology. So this entire process is a path to discovery. But once you do it and you identify those values and you identify your company's purpose, it will help you with all internal decision making issues. Like, it will totally refine your process. You know, an opportunity comes along and you revert back to, okay, does this, hold to our values? Does this serve the company's purpose, or does it allow the company to further its purpose? And so those are the questions that you're really asking yourself to put those things together. And no matter your business size, going on this journey does actually help you stay true to your business's spirit. And so if you're an entrepreneur listening to this, you've probably experienced it where anything came along. If somebody was willing to pay you for it, you did it. So entrepreneurs are very susceptible to saying yes when they shouldn't to whatever comes along. It draws you away from your core ideology and what really makes you the happiest. And so this can happen in big businesses too. So when you look at when certain businesses acquire other businesses, you're kind of like, oh, that's interesting. I wouldn't have expected them to buy that. So it could be that the company is attempting to purchase infrastructure or purchase certain types of talent to further other business goals that do tie to their ideology. But it can also be a sign that they had an opportunity to buy this, and so they did. And it could be drawing them further away from their ideology. One great example or a great example of a company kind of realigning with their ideology was 3M, when they actually divested themselves of certain parts of their business to get back to what their purpose was. And another example that comes to mind, I actually used to work for a company, and this company purchased my my business division, from a larger federal contracting company called L3. So L3 is a super huge company, but they had a business component that was, language services for the government. And I guess L3, they kind of packaged it up and they sold it off to the company I ended up working for called CACI. And, I have to imagine that if you had been a fly, on the wall in that room when those decisions were made, it might have just been that, the language services, while yes, a vital service to the government, it did bring in money. It didn't line up with L3's vision for the future. It didn't line up with their ideology. And so that's another reason, not just that a company is failing and they need money, but that is another reason why a company may choose to divest themselves of certain business divisions that they hold, even if those divisions are profitable. So, like I said, you cannot create ideology because that would be inauthentic. And we are in the era of supremely authentic marketing. If you are not authentic in your marketing, everyone can tell, except maybe the most obtuse of people. So you have to stay true to yourself. And keep in mind, again, like I said, it's in a journey. So it's not something that you have to do in a day. It's not something that you have to do in a week. Obviously, you want to have, certain things in place. You want to be an ethical business person. So that's kind of like a given. So when you look at your values beyond that, those are the sorts of things that you have to gather and decide what matters to you. And if you are a small business, then, that could be a very evolving, set of values, a very evolving ideology over the course of the first few years of your business as you learn new things about yourself, let alone your business. So your ideology should be the beacon that lights the way into your future. And it should be something that's almost like a rallying cry. If you're a solo business, it should be something you can always like go back to. That's like the soul of your business. But if you're a business with employees, your ideology should be something that kind of lights the fire in your employees. Your ideology could be a qualifier or disqualifier for new employees. So it's not like a differentiating factor per se that you would use in your marketing, but you could be more motivated. Your employees could be more motivated because they believe in your ideology. So what the results of holding that ideology tightly, metaphorically speaking, tightly to one's chest is that your employees may perform better. Your employees may outperform your competitors' employees because they truly believe in the ideology that you've set for the company. And that can show in that sort of comparison. And the big thing here, especially in this ever-changing, technologically advanced world that we're living in these days, is that when everything else changes, your ideology should endure. And if there is ever any part of your ideology that just doesn't feel right, then you have to let it go. And again, I feel like with entrepreneurs, this can kind of change. Or at least the way you learn to express your ideology changes. So that's kind of another fine point of differentiation. It's not even so much that you'll change your ideology, but the words that you use to express your ideology may change. And the change of words there could help your ideology resonate with your employees and again kind of cause that ripple effect of it not being a differentiating factor, but because it's something, again, it's that beacon that everybody can point to in your company and everybody can look at. Because it's that beacon, your employees will just carry or cause an amazing customer experience because their performance is so much better. All right. So that's us mostly wrapping up our, series on your company ideology. So don't forget, that's your values and your purpose wrapped together, which creates basically your company's reason for existing. Okay. So that's been an episode of the Defiant Business Podcast. Go ahead and leave us a comment or a note or a review wherever it is that you listen to us, or leave us a comment if you found the transcript on the blog, and we'd just love to have this discussion with you.